Welcome in, Tiger fans. We're back. It's start of the football season. We took a little break. There wasn't a whole lot going on. We did a little position player reviews and things like that, but we're ready. It's week one. We just watched week zero games. Wasn't that a snooze fest, huh, Tyler?
Yeah, wasn't much to really recap in week zero other than probably one good game between Vanderbilt and Hawaii. Outside of that, not too great. Ready to see the purple and gold take the action against the Seminoles.
That is true. Hey, but Vanderbilt's number one in the SEC right now. They got that one win, but I think that's going to change after this weekend. So let's get on into the rundown. So, starting the rundown on a sour note with Mr. Mason Smith being suspended. It was announced last week the NCAA and their high horse of power has decided they will be suspending him for the first game of the season due to some improper benefits received during a pre NIL autograph signing with Kayshawn Booty. It's surprising that Kayshawn's still in the LSU headlines and kind of causing trouble from beyond the grave, you could say. Tyler, I mean, do you agree with it? It's stupid. I know. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, if I feel like LSU should be able to pick which game it is. I mean, if you go all the way back to the Johnny Manziel, if you watch the Johnny Manziel documentary, he did pretty much the same thing years and years and years before NIL wasn't a thing, and he got suspended one half. Mason Smith gets suspended a
Yeah,
full game. You look on Michigan side, Jim Harbaugh, with some of the recruiting violations during the COVID-19 period, he gets 3 games. You know what those 3 games are? Three cupcakes, including Bowling Green and
and
some
Michigan
other
got to pick
schools.
those games
Yeah.
too.
So I would just wish that, we saw a report that LSU was trying to get somebody for week zero. That ultimately didn't happen. We wish you could have just bumped it back to the Grambling game. But of course, the NCAA has to put it on the most important game of the season. The only game that honestly every college football fan cares about because it's a top 10 matchup. It's college football playoff semifinal. I honestly just hate it for Mason Smith. Smith missed pretty much the entirety of the 2022 season. He got hurt during this same Florida State game in the first drive. So this is a guy that just wants to be on the field. He's been circling this game. And the fact that this crooked NCAA took it away from him is just stupidity. I mean,
I
the
agree.
NIL era, I know it happened a couple of weeks ago, a couple of, weeks or months. I don't even know when it happened. It was just like before July
I think it was
of
2 weeks
2021. Yeah.
before it was
It was 2 weeks
approved.
before
So that's
NIL was
crazy.
legal. So honestly, who cares? I could care less, but it's honestly stupid to have that caliber of a player suspended for a game that pretty much can either, who the winner of this is really set up for the college football playoff, and the loser of it is going to have to dig themselves out of a hole. So losing Mason Smith is definitely a huge blow for this Tiger defense.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned with Johnny Manziel, the man made millions off of signing autographs, and he was suspended for the first half first
Right.
rice, like a non-conference cupcake game, like doesn't matter. Which I know was what like eight
Yeah.
years ago,
Makes a lot
but
of
and then
sense.
of course you have like top 10 matchup number eight versus number five. Mason Smith already was out the entire year, which I know it's not to the NCAA standards, but I mean, he was out with an injury. To me, in my eyes, that's almost even worse than him being suspended. The LSU got to pick Kayshawn's last year. It came out. Brian Kelly said, "Oh yeah, that's the game that we said he had the flu." Well, he was actually suspended for improper benefits. So I think it's stupid that they're enforcing this game one against Florida State. It should, if they're going to do it, it should be the first half.
Yeah.
Okay, you messed up. Here's your ruler tap on the knuckles. It is what it is. But forget about it. I mean, it was 2 years ago, so I think it's just dumb. And the guy head of the Florida or the head of the NCAA committee that decided this, guess where he was the athletic director of a
Florida
few years
State.
ago? Florida State. So a little bit of bias, if you ask me, but there's nothing we can do about it. The Tiger defense played without Mason Smith all last year. Defensive line looked good. I think Brian Kelly's going to have them ready to play. So let's go ahead and get into that preview. LSU, Florida State, next Sunday night, September 3rd, if I got my dates
Yep.
right, the day before Labor Day, 6:30 in Camping World Stadium in Orlando. It's going to be a top 10 matchup. Tyler, number eight versus number five. What do you see from Seminoles? I know we haven't seen them much, but they don't have a week 0 game, so they're not going to be ready like they were last year. So everybody's on an even slate. What are you looking at from the
Well,
Seminoles
even
this year?
without the week 0 game, I am very, very high on this Florida State team. I think that Florida State's going to win the ACC. I know that everyone's been talking about Florida State versus Clemson, but if you really look, Mike Norvell, he really, look at Florida State. Obviously, they beat LSU last year with the heartbreaking, game-winning blocked missed extra point by the Seminoles. They really got off to a hot start, but they got off to a very rugged finish. They didn't really finish that well. They ended up going into the Cheez It Bowl against, I believe it was Oklahoma that they faced, and then they won that game.
I
So
think you're right. Yeah.
Florida State with Jordan Travis, I think that Travis is going to be in the Heisman discussion. They have the weapons around him: Micah Pittman, Wilson, the 6'7" wide receiver, who's going to be an ultimate mismatch
Yeah.
in this game. And then the defense. The defense, some of the guys who could have went to the NFL, who I thought was going to go to the NFL, has come back for their senior season to win a national championship. And they also got a really good recruiting class coming into this season. They dove into the transfer portal to kind of really buff into that defense. I think that Florida State's defense not only going to be one of the best in the ACC. I think that it could be anybody's best. Michigan's probably the top tier defense, but I think that Florida State is in that tier 2 defense. So LSU better be ready to come to play, because I think that this Florida State team is better than they were a year ago.
No, I could see. I totally agree with you. I think Jordan Travis, they're probably going to be running a lot of read options with him because he is a mobile quarterback. Some RPOs. Florida State, I think, is going to attack the run game early, especially not having Mason Smith down there. Of course, we got guys like Makai Wingo on that line that are going to replace him, but it's still it raises some concern, right? And then, like you mentioned, Johnny Wilson, 6'7", matchup nightmare. I mean, our tallest corner is like 6'2", and of course, LSU's cornerback room. There's still some uncertainties. It's a lot of transfers. LSU is known as DBU, so I know they got him coached up right, but we don't really know until we see it. Is Denver Harris going to play? Is he going to start? He's gotten in trouble in the offseason, so that hurts the cornerback room. But I think for Florida State, their key to success for them is going to be starting that run game, establishing it, and then Jordan Travis is going to be able to just pick apart the secondary, which I'm hoping doesn't happen. I'll give a prediction right now. I think it's LSU 31, Florida State 24. And LSU scoring that go ahead touchdown late in the game for us to take it away. Tyler, what's your score
I
prediction?
think that the key in this one, I know that we have the key to success coming up, but if you look at last year's game, Florida State got off to a fantastic start. LSU's offense, I know it was year one of Brian Kelly. It was a new offensive system. Jaden Daniels, a new transfer quarterback. That shouldn't be the case anymore. I mean, LSU needs to start off fast. Jaden Daniels coming back for his senior season. You got who knows who's going to be starting at running back? Is it going to be Josh Williams? Is it going to be
Oh, we got 8 of
John
them.
Emery?
Just
Is
pick
it
one.
going to be Noah Kane? Is it going to be Logan Diggs? The list can go on, but you got the receivers around him. Mason Taylor coming back for his second year. You got Malik Neighbors as your wide receiver one. You got Lacey. And then you got an offensive line. It was a lot of freshmen, a lot of newcomers last season, but most of those are coming back. So they're pretty much, you could call them a veteran offensive line. I think this is going to be pretty much the same story as last year. It's going to be a 4-quarter battle. These are just two evenly matched teams. If you look on paper, they are very evenly matched. But I think LSU gets it done. I think that they go 1-0 to start the season. But I think it's going to be a field goal game. Whoever has the ball last is probably going to win the game. But I'm going to go with a 27-24 victory for LSU.
Okay. Okay, a little closer to that one. So you mentioned keys to success. Let's get into it. Keys to success. Of course, they put it on College Game Day. They put it on ESPN. I've come up with my own keys. They may be different than Tyler's keys. You can't use an old key to open a new door. It's all the same thing. My key for LSU success is the run game. We saw it a lot last year. Jaden Daniels kind of led the team in rushing, but when the running backs got going, this was a completely different Tiger offense. So I think whether it be Noah Kane, Josh Williams, John Emery. I mean, the list goes on, right? Who could possibly be the starting running back? I think you're going to see Josh Williams out there early and maybe some Logan Diggs, Noah Kane kind of mix it in on third down. But I think key for LSU is get that run game started early. That allows Shane Daniels to stretch the field because you're going to bring the defense in, bring the safeties in, and then stretch the field. Jane Daniels taking deep bombs and it's going to be a scoring fest for LSU. So, Tyler, what's your key to success for the
I think
Tigers?
the key to the success was one of the negatives throughout the 2022 season. That was the special teams unit. The punt unit. With Jay Bramblett coming back, but there's plenty of times that we saw last season. If you're an LSU fan, that Damian Ramos either missed a field goal or missed extra points. Of how close that I think that this game's going to come down to. Whenever your offense gets down inside a 30-yard line, you need your kicker to come through clutch, because I think that any valuable points is going to come down to who either wins this game or who loses this game. Just look back at last year, missing the extra point was pretty much the factor in this game. If LSU makes that, they have all the momentum. They probably win in overtime. So I think that, it starts in the punt return. A guy that you mentioned, Aaron Anderson, I'm sure you're going to keep mentioning him. I think that you're very high on him. If
Oh
we
yeah.
see Aaron Anderson be in the punt returner, at the kickoff returner, in a game like this, a top 10 matchup, you need a guy to step up either in the punt return or kickoff return to give you that flip that field position. So I think that special teams in game number one on is going to be the key if LSU can get back to Atlanta.
Yeah, special teams was a huge issue for LSU last year, especially in this game. I mean, we had missed field goals, drop punts, a blocked extra point to lose the game. So Tigers definitely need to get that one straight if they want to win this year. So let's get to our players to watch. Players to watch, our picks for who's going to change the game. Tyler, I'll let you start it off.
I think that I'm going to go to the guy that's ultimately going to be in the spot of Mason Smith. He did it a year ago, and that's Makai Wingo. He's going to be wearing the number 18 for a reason with his leadership on and off the field. I think that Makai Wingo was honestly one of the bigger transfer gets last season. With we saw Jarrett Bernard Converse, we saw Makai Gardner, Greg Brooks Jr. I think you need a man in the middle. Florida State's running game really had their way last year against this LSU defense. So I think that Makai Wingo, and then you also got guys to replace. BJ Ojolari's gone, Ali Gade's gone. So who's going to be that guy who can get after the passer? I think that Makai Wingo in this game, he's going to have a really good game. I think with the absence of Mason Smith, I think you need Makai Wingo to once again step up, which I think he will.
So my player to watch is going to be incomer transfer from Alabama, played at Edner Carr in New Orleans. I think he's going to be the key if he is the punt returner or kick returner, which from what I've seen in spring practice, he will be. That's Aaron Anderson. I mean, you go back to Edna Carr, he was returning punts and kickoffs for touchdowns left and right, probably won a game. Of course, at Alabama, he tears his ACL. He's got the knee injury. But everybody says he's 100%. The man can fly down the field. He can make people miss with his juke move. That's my player to watch. And you might see him mixed in on the wide receiver front, even though he's probably like fourth or fifth on the depth chart there. But I think special teams is where he's going to shine. So keep a watch out for Aaron Anderson to take one to the house. Let's get to around town news. So, Tiger Stadium was named among America's most treasured stadiums, according to the Historic Stadium Caucus. Those are some big words that we don't typically use on the Bayou Bengal Bites show. This is a bipartisan congressional effort to preserve, protect, and enhance iconic stadiums across America. So, what I'm hearing is they're going to put a bunch of money into these historic stadiums to kind of bring them up to speed, some of these newer ones. I mean, LSU Tiger Stadium is coming up on its 100-year mark. So I think they're going to be updating some of the infrastructure. Maybe they're going to put in some Wi-Fi extenders in the stadium, Tyler, so you can get cell service. And you can take pictures of the game and post them. But then also things like escalators and security measures and things like that. So Tyler, keep an eye out. Next time you go into Tiger Stadium, you might see some new things. Maybe not this season, but probably next season. So anything left to tell the Tiger fans before we kick it off to week one?
No, it definitely doesn't surprise me that Tiger Stadium is on that list. It's a special place. If you've been there, there's quite nothing like it. It could be an 11
That is
o'clock
true.
kickoff, but especially Saturday night in Death Valley, whenever you hear those three notes from the Golden Band from Tigerland, whenever they're going through the tunnel and the fireworks go off, we've had our fair share growing up as kids being LSU
Get
fans.
goosebumps, Tyler. Get
I know
goosebumps.
you went to that 2007 LSU versus Florida game, and that was probably one of the most raucous environments. Us during a student would probably say that
Yep.
2019 LSU Florida game too. So I'm sure that LSU fans, if you want to leave us in the comment, what was your favorite game to go through? Since LSU is now
Yes,
considered
yes.
a historic landmark. Now we can, think about all the memories in that stadium. So yeah, we'll see if there's anything development. That a couple of years ago they went through the bathroom renovations. They have added
Bathrooms are pristine now.
beer in the stadium. The concession. I feel like the concessions do need to get better. Some of the food is definitely lacking. You saw the box add some stuff, so we'll see if they add more Wi-Fi. Is another thing. You can't send anything.
Yes.
Good luck trying to send a text, Snapchat, or whatever. It's not going to send unless you're in the 600s and you're pretty much touching
You can't see the field anyway.
the satellite station. So yeah, that definitely doesn't surprise me. But other around town news, I'll go to the baseball diamond. We haven't talked last time that we did Bayou Bengal Bites. We have some guys now. We saw Paul Skeen's debut in Altoona. Wasn't a good debut. He only lasted had 2 outs, gave up 4 earned runs. But Dylan Cruz, though, he's
Yeah.
also in Double A. He got his first Double A double, and then Trey Morgan is doing well for the Tampa Bay Rays single A organization. Same with Gavin Dugas, and also Hayden Travinski getting number 8. How about that?
Yeah, no, that was good to see. Of course, I mean, we talked numbers. Andrew Trubisky, number 8. Will Campbell was wearing number
Mhm.
7. I thought it was a patch, but the LSU Twitter
I
put
think
out
it's going to
something
be a
today
patch.
that
I think
makes
that
it
the
sound like he's
NCAA
gonna
still has a
actually have
rule.
number 7 on. So okay, that's I wasn't sure if he was gonna be number
No, it's
66
going to
or
be a
7. So
patch.
he'll have the patch on. And then I believe Wingo is also going to be wearing a patch. He can wear 18
Yeah.
on the defensive line. I just don't know if he's going to do that or not. So yeah, so of course all of them stand up guys. No one more deserving of the number than those three. I love the number tradition there. So like Tyler said, let us know in the comments your favorite Tiger Stadium memory, your predictions for the LSU Florida State game, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a like, and we'll be doing these every week, breaking down the previous week's games. Looking forward to who we're playing in that opponent and the players to watch for. So with that, I'll leave everybody with a Go Tigers.